Now, let's take a look at working with our pages. So I'm just going to go to all pages. Now this area might look different in yours. You might only have your privacy policy and your sample page. Mine has some other pages in here, no big deal. I'm going to get rid of all of them later. So let's go ahead and look at our sample page and we will edit. And this is new. This, I believe, started happening in version 5 of WordPress. And what I'm talking about is they now use what are called blocks. So if you select these different content areas, or you can create new content areas. All right. So the idea here is they're creating this visual editor. Okay. It's okay. And I believe, within a couple of years, this is going to become mandatory. So you're going to have to learn this, and you might want to work with this editor. I'm really going to leave this up to you. But as an example, you can select an area. If you wanted this to be a link, then you could add it as a link. Do you open it in a new tab? Do you want it to be bold instead? You can move them up and down or just click and drag them. So it's all these different block areas. You could change what type of block this is. Okay. All right. If you want, we can scroll down, click down below, and then click plus, and you can add different block elements. These are the most used: common block, formatting, layout elements. So it's kind of a drag and drop. Maybe you want to add these different widgets. All right. Embeds, whatever. So the whole idea here is it just creates block on top of block. And you might be able to add blocks with inside blocks also. I'm not overly familiar with this editor, but this is something that you might want to experiment with. Okay, this is that permalink like we explored in the settings. If you edit this, you'll see how this is just using the page name as the link. Then you also have your settings. This is where you can get at the document information, permalinks, featured image, the discussion, allow comments or not, page attributes, getting at the default templates, setting what the parent page is. You can provide numbers for order. So this is all stuff that you're just going to take time and explore and learn about. There's the block area, so no blocks are selected. If you select the block, then you get at the settings for that block, color settings, advanced settings. Okay, you can close this area, you can open it, you can go to these settings. Okay, so this is all stuff that you are going to explore. Now, I prefer the original editor, so I'm going to leave this up to you. Okay, so you can work with this block editor on your pages. Completely fine. I prefer the old school approach to the editor. Okay, now before we install that plugin, let's go ahead and also go back to our users. Okay, we'll go ahead and edit our user, and you will see disable the visual editor when writing. So if I check this, update the profile, and now we go back to our pages. Let's take a look at edit our sample page. You'll see we are now in the basic editor. So you could just write HTML like you would in a normal editor. Okay, so you can still get at the block elements. Okay, The difference is you're in the basic editor, so you're not going to see that information over here. Okay, you're not in the visual editor. You're just writing basic code. So you might want to just disable the visual editor and take this path. Okay, again, I'm going to leave that up to you, but you should explore working with the new block editor. All right, let's go back to users. We'll edit the user. We'll disable the visual editor when writing. We'll take that off. Let's go ahead and update. We'll just go back to our pages real quick to verify. And you'll see that you have that visual editor back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the plugins. I'll go to add new plugins, and I'm going to add the classic editor. This is so popular that it's one of the first featured plugins. So I'm going to go ahead and click install now. So this should be installed. Let's go ahead and activate. And we should now see in our list of plugins that our classic editor is enabled. So if you change your mind and you no longer want to use the classic editor, then just come over here and deactivate it and go back to the block level editor. Okay. Again, I'm going to leave that up to you, but for the demos, I'm going to be working with classic. So let's go ahead and go back to our pages, and let's go to our sample page. And we are now in the old school editor, okay, where we basically just see our page name. This is our permalink. This is how the pages are linked together. This is your basic old school toolbar. You can go from visual to your code view if you want. Okay. Now I like this editor because it's easier for me to set up the basic layout of the site, and we'll talk about that next.